cold rain slaps my face like it's personal. My fingers fumble at the knob anyway. One more twist, one more chance. Then the deadbolt clicks from the other side. Final. My stomach drops so hard I taste metal. Dad's voice comes through the glass, muffled and mean. You made your choice. Mom is there, close enough that I see her shadow, but she won't look at me. Not once. I run. I don't know where. My shoes skid, water swallowing my socks, and the streetlights smear into trembling halos. My lungs burn, my legs turn to wet sand. I hit the sidewalk and the world tilts. Headlights. A car stopping. A door opening. A woman's silhouette kneels and warmth wraps around my shoulders. Blanket, hands, steadiness. Her voice is soft like she's afraid I'll shatter. Sweetheart, where's your coat? Then bright hospital lights slice into my eyes. Paper rustles, a clipboard snaps open. The woman leans in and my throat tightens before she even speaks. I'm with CPS, she says, calm as breath, and I believe you. Rain worms its way down the glass in crooked lines, racing itself to the sill. It makes the whole city look warped. Headlights smeared, buildings bending like the world's being pulled through water. My reflection sits in the middle of it. 27 now. Same dark eyes, same tired mouth, a little sharper around the edges. The envelope in my lap is small and heavy, like it's been filled with wet sand instead of paper. My thumb keeps tracing the sealed flap back and forth until the skin starts to burn. My chest does that tight, fizzy thing it does right before a panic attack, but I keep breathing, slow and stubborn. In, out, in, out. I'm not 15 anymore. I'm not on that porch. This isn't the kind of story where I kick down doors and scream until someone listens. I learned a long time ago that my voice never mattered in that house. This is the quieter kind of revenge. The kind where the truth just keeps walking forward until everyone who lied runs out of hallway. So, let me put names to the ghosts. I'm Lena, the problem child. The phrase still scrapes. Teachers whispered it. Neighbors nodded like it explained everything. I wore it like an ill-fitting coat I couldn't take off. Graham is my father. My tongue almost refuses to call him Dad. He thinks control is the same thing as love. Curfews, inspections, ultimatums, all wrapped up as protection. Rena is my stepmother. Soft cardigan, soft voice, softer spine. She smiles at church, at the grocery store, at barbecues. At home, she folds her hands and looks away. And Paige, my older stepsister. Paige with the perfect eyeliner and the perfect grades and the perfect wounded look whenever my name comes up. Her aim is flawless. Every accusation lands exactly where it hurts most. The envelope twitches when I breathe. It's from a lawyer. His lawyer. Whatever is inside started the night CPS walked into that hospital room and decided my life wasn't just some family misunderstanding. What did they see? What did they find on those forms and screens that turned my whole story inside out? If you've ever been blamed for something you didn't do, stay with me. You'll want to hear how this ends. Because that night, I didn't just get kicked out. I got erased. And while I was sleeping, someone had already started stealing pieces of my life, one quiet signature at a time. The town always smells like wet rope and old salt. Even when it isn't raining, it feels like it is, like the sky is holding its breath, waiting to let go. The streets shine constantly, black tops slicked with drizzle, reflecting porch lights and brake lights and the occasional face that turns just a little too slowly as you pass. People here don't ask questions, they collect details. Old money lives up on the bluff in houses that look painted on. White trim, hydrangeas, perfectly timed holiday wreaths. Their windows glow warm, always. Like nothing bad ever happens behind them. Like cruelty is something that only shows up in other zip codes. I live just low enough to feel the cold from the water and the judgment from the hill. Most mornings, I wake before my alarm because my body never fully relaxes. There's always a tightness tucked under my ribs, like a fist holding me in place. I dress quietly. I count my steps on the stairs. I listen for Dad's chair creak, the little sound it makes when he shifts his weight like he's deciding whether I'm worth noticing today. School is the one place my brain feels sharp, safe, almost. My teachers praise my essays and my grades and say things like, "You're going to go far, Lena." They don't see how I flinch when a door slams. They don't see me rehearse smiles in bathroom mirrors. making sure my face looks normal enough to not invite questions. I'm on scholarship. That word tastes like pennies. It means I'm lucky. It means I'm not supposed to complain. After school, I work at a cafe near the pier, the kind with foggy windows and a bell that jingles when the door opens. I like the rhythm there, espresso grinding, milk steaming, the steady clink of cups. If I focus hard enough on the orders, on the warmth of the ceramic against my palms, I can pretend my life is simple. Quiet goals. That's what I call them, like I'm bargaining with the universe. College. A small apartment with a lock only I control. Peace that doesn't feel borrowed. But home is a different climate. Not weather, pressure. Dad married Rena when I was 12. I remember the day she moved in because the house smelled like her perfume for weeks, sweet and powdery, like the air had been covered with a cloth. She brought throw pillows, a new shower curtain, a set of matching hand towels that suddenly made me aware of how mismatched everything had been before. Dad acted like he'd been waiting to exhale for years. Paige came with her. "Bonus daughter," Dad called her, half joking, half proud, like he'd won something. Paige was 14 then, 2 years older than me. She walked through the house like she already knew where everything belonged, like the walls had been waiting for her. She was pretty in that clean, effortless way that makes adults soften. Blonde hair, always smooth, nails, always neat. She said please and thank you with perfect timing, and she laughed at Dad's jokes like they were genuinely funny. I tried. I did. I tried to be polite, to make room, to tell myself a bigger family meant more warmth. Instead, it felt like my own house had shifted 2 inches to the left and I kept bumping into corners that weren't there before. At first, the changes were small, quiet. Rena would ask how my day was, then cut me off mid-sentence when Paige entered the room. Dad would call me kiddo and pat my head like I was still little, then turn and ask Paige about her honor roll like she was already an adult. The praise in that house had a flavor. Paige got the sweet kind. I got the kind that stung. By the time I was 15, the dinner table felt like a courtroom, the lighting too bright, the air too still, silverware clinking like tiny verdicts. Dad sat at the head. Always. Paige sat close enough to him that their elbows almost touched. Rena across from her, hands folded, eyes on her plate, like the table itself required reverence. And me, I sat wherever there was space, sometimes at the far end, sometimes with my shoulder brushing the wall because Paige's school bag had accidentally ended up on my chair again, and moving it would have started something. Dinner conversation was never about me unless something was wrong. Dad would ask Paige about her grades, her friends, her plans. He'd nod, proud, chewing slowly like he was savoring her answers, then his gaze would slide to me. "What about you, Lena?" It sounded like a question, but it wasn't. It was a checkpoint, a searchlight. If I said fine, he'd narrow his eyes. If I said good, he'd want proof. If I mentioned a club or a friend, he'd ask what time, where, with who, and why. And always, Paige would do this tiny thing. A look, a slight frown, a subtle inhale. Dad's rules tightened whenever Paige looked uneasy, like she had a remote control in her pocket and I didn't even know it. "No hanging out after work. Hand me your phone at 9. I want to see your backpack. What's that on your sleeve? Where were you?" The questions were constant. They wore me down in grains, not chunks, death by sand. Every day I told myself, just keep your head down, just get through it, just stay invisible until you can leave. But Paige didn't want me invisible. Paige wanted me small. It started with permission slips. I'd put one on the counter in the morning, field trip form, debate meet, college prep workshop, and when I came home, it would be gone, not thrown away, not crumpled, gone like it never existed. I'd check my room, my bag, under the fridge magnet where Dad insisted we keep important papers, nothing. "Did you forget to give it to me?" Dad would ask, voice already edged. "No, I put it right. You always have an excuse." Paige would lean back in her chair, eyes wide with sympathy. "Maybe you just misplaced it," she'd say softly, like she was trying to help me not look stupid. My face would get hot, not embarrassment, anger that had nowhere safe to go. And then the rides. My friend Marisol's mom would agree to pick me up for a group project. I'd be standing on the curb, backpack heavy, rain threading down my hair, and the car wouldn't come. Later, I'd text Marisol from the cafe on my break, fingers stiff from wiping tables. "Where were you?" She'd respond, "My mom said you canceled. You said your dad didn't want you going." I'd stare at my phone until the screen blurred. I never canceled, but when I asked Paige about it, carefully, like I was approaching a dog that might bite, she'd blink slowly. "What?" I didn't talk to Marisol's mom. Her voice would be so smooth I'd question my own memory. The sabotage had a way of making me doubt my senses, like she was slipping oil into the gears of my thoughts. Then the email started. My English teacher pulled me aside one afternoon, her brows drawn together. "Lena, I received an email from you last night. It was concerning." My stomach flipped. "What email?" She showed me her screen, a message from my school account full of apologies and scattered sentences. It said I'd been going through stuff, that I couldn't handle deadlines, that I needed special consideration because my home life was hard. I felt my mouth go dry. My skin prickled like a rash rising under it. "I didn't write that," I whispered. She studied my face, and for a second I thought she believed me. Then her expression softened in that adult way that means, "I think you're lying, but I'm going to be kind about it." "It's okay to ask for help," she said. Help! Like I was broken. The rumors spread the same way the rain does here, quietly, everywhere, unavoidable. People stopped inviting me places. Conversations went hush-hush when I walked up. I'd hear my name followed by sad or trouble or poor thing. And at home, Paige would watch me like she was waiting for me to collapse and prove her right. The worst part is that my body started carrying the weight of it all without permission. My shoulders stayed tense. My jaw ached from clenching. I'd wake up with nausea curling in my throat like bile was just living there now. Sometimes in the bathroom mirror, I'd press my fingertips into my own cheeks and whisper, "You're not crazy. You know what you know." But the house didn't care what I knew. The house only cared what Dad believed. And Dad believed Paige. There was money, too, a thread I couldn't stop snagging my mind on. My mother died when I was little enough that her face is a collage in my memory. Her hands tying my hair, her laugh in the kitchen, her voice reading stories. She left something behind. Not much, just a small inheritance account set up for my future. Dad controlled it. "For your safety," he said, like my own future was a knife I might hurt myself with. I wasn't allowed to see statements. I wasn't allowed to ask questions without getting the "after all I've done for you" speech. But I noticed things. Mail from the bank would show up already opened. The paper inside creased like someone had read it quickly and shoved it back. I'd see envelopes on the counter with the seal torn rough like claws. When I asked, Dad would barely look up. "Household admin." Admin. Like my mother's last gift to me was just another bill to sort. Once, I found a letter in the trash. Not shredded. Just folded and tossed like it meant nothing. It had my name on it, typed in black, next to the words, "Account Summary." My hands trembled as I unfolded it. Numbers, columns. My heart thudded so hard I felt it in my throat. Before I could read it, Paige appeared in the doorway. She didn't startle. She never did. She just arrived. Quiet. Her eyes flicked to the paper, and her smile was almost gentle. "You shouldn't dig through trash," she said. I swallowed. "Why is this in here?" She tilted her head, like she was curious how long it would take me to understand my place. "Dad handles that. It's not your job." The paper felt hot in my hands, like it could burn me just for touching it. I put it back. I hated myself for it, but the fear was bigger than my pride. And then, because Paige always waited until I was tired, came the first major fracture. The kind that makes your life split into before and after. It was a Thursday. I remember because the cafe had pumpkin muffins out and the smell followed me home, sweet and warm, clinging to my hair. I walked in to find Dad standing in the living room with my backpack in his hands. Not on the couch, not unzipped on the floor like he'd checked before. In his hands, open. His face was tight, eyes hard. Rena hovered near the hallway, hands twisting the hem of her sweater. Paige sat on the armchair, knees together, palms pressed to her mouth like she was holding back tears. My mouth went numb. "What is this?" Dad snapped. He held up something between two fingers, a vape pen. My brain stuttered. The room swam for a second, the edges of my vision darkening like a camera lens closing. My tongue felt thick. "That's not mine." Paige's eyes filled instantly. She was good at it. "I found it," she whispered, voice trembling. "I didn't want to believe it. I didn't." Dad's head whipped toward me. "Don't lie." "I'm not lying." The words came out thin, strangled. "I've never. Dad, I don't." He cut me off with a sharp motion like he was swatting a fly. "You think I'm stupid? It was in your bag." My palms went cold. My fingers tingled. My body had no idea where to put the panic, so it shoved it everywhere. "Someone put it there," I said, and even as I spoke, I felt how desperate it sounded. Paige made a small sound, a sob that didn't reach her eyes. Why would anyone do that? Why, indeed. Dad stepped closer. The air around him felt heavy, like the pressure before a storm breaks. "You're grounded," he said. "No phone. No work except school and straight home. I'm calling your counselor." My throat tightened so hard I could barely breathe. Please, just listen to me." Dad's eyes were flat. I'm listening to your actions." My vision blurred, not from tears yet, but from heat building behind my eyes like a fever. Paige looked at me with that perfect wounded expression, like she was the victim of my existence. I wanted to scream. I wanted to rip my own skin off and crawl out of the person they'd decided I was. Instead, I stood there, shaking, while Dad delivered punishment like it was righteousness. That night, I couldn't eat. The smell of dinner turned my stomach. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, rain tapping the window like impatient fingers. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Dad holding that pen, saw Paige crying, saw Rena looking away. I heard the house settling, pipes ticking, floorboards sighing. Then, close to midnight, I heard Paige's door creak, soft footsteps, the faint glow of her phone screen under her door. I held my breath, because breathing felt too loud. Then her voice drifted down the hallway. Low, controlled, no tears. "It has to look like she's spiraling," Paige said. A pause, like she was listening. "Yeah, or it won't work." My stomach dropped again, a sick lurch like I was falling in a dream. I pressed my fist into my mouth to keep from making a sound. My skin went cold all over in the dark with rain scratching at the glass. I finally understood something I'd been refusing to name. This wasn't an accident. This was a plan. By morning, the house feels different. Not louder, just sharper. Like every edge has been honed overnight, and I'm the soft thing meant to get cut. Paige glides through the kitchen in clean socks. She hums. She pours cereal like she didn't just confess in the dark that my life needs to look a certain way. My stomach churns as if it's trying to crawl out of my throat. I watch Dad from behind my mug. He reads his phone with that frown line between his brows, the one he gets when he thinks he's being responsible. He doesn't look at me until I stand to leave for school. "Bag," he says. One word, a command. I hand it over. My fingers hesitate on the strap like the bag is part of my body. He unzips it right there on the table, like I'm not a daughter, like I'm a suspect. The zipper sound is a long metal hiss that sets my teeth on edge. He digs through notebooks, pens, the little packet of crackers I keep for my break. His hands are sure, confident, like he's done this enough times to feel entitled to it. Paige sits, chin propped on her palm, watching. Her eyes flick from his hands to my face, measuring my reactions, logging them. Dad finds nothing and still looks disappointed. "Go," he says, as if he's granting me permission to exist for the day. Outside, the air is wet and cold. The drizzle isn't heavy, but it sticks to everything. My hair, my eyelashes, my skin. The town looks washed out like someone wrung it out and hung it to dry. At school, the first bell rings and my heart doesn't settle. It never does anymore. I'm halfway to my locker when the counselor's office assistant calls my name. Lena, Miss Harrow needs to see you. My throat tightens instantly. The counselor's office smells like peppermint tea and carpet cleaner. The chairs are upholstered in that soft fabric that makes you sink in like they're trying to keep you there. Miss Harrow smiles at me with the careful softness adults use when they've already decided you're fragile. Come in, she says. I sit. The chair swallows my legs. She folds her hands. Someone reached out? Anonymously? My skin prickles hot under my sweater. About what? About you, she says gently, too gently. The room tilts a fraction. My mouth tastes like pennies again. They're worried you're struggling, she continues. They mentioned mood changes, risky behaviors, that you may be experimenting. I feel my nails bite into my palm. I press harder. Pain helps. Pain proves I'm real. I'm not, I say. My voice comes out too sharp, like a snapped wire. Miss Harrow doesn't flinch. She just nods like I've confirmed something. It's okay to be honest, Lena. This is a safe space. Safe. The word makes bile rise in my throat. Nothing is safe. Not here, not home, not my own backpack. I am being honest, I say, forcing the words through my teeth. Someone is lying. She tilts her head. Would you be willing to speak with our school resource officer, just to clear things up? My chest tightens into a hard knot. The air feels thin, like breathing is a privilege I'm about to lose. I nod because refusing will look like guilt, because I can already feel the story tightening around me like a net. When I leave her office, the hallway feels brighter, harsher. Kids laugh near the vending machines. Someone drops a textbook. Life keeps happening around me like it hasn't noticed I'm being quietly dismantled. At the cafe later, the bell above the door jingles and the warmth hits my face. Coffee, sugar, steam. For a minute, my shoulders drop. Then my manager, Tessa, waves me over, her lips pressed into a line. Lena, she says low, a neighbor came in. My stomach sinks. She said she saw you wandering near the marina late last night. She sounded concerned. My blood turns cold. I was here, I whisper. I closed. You saw me. Tessa's eyes soften. I know, I told her. She said, she must have mistaken you. Mistaken like my face is interchangeable, like my life is just a rumor that can be passed around without consequence. By the time I walk home, it's not even fully dark, but it feels like it. The clouds press down. The ocean wind tastes metallic. My skin buzzes with tension like I'm holding back electricity. Inside, Dad is waiting, not sitting, standing. That alone makes my stomach cramp. He only stands like that when he's ready to unleash something. Paige is on the couch, wrapped in a throw blanket like she's the one who needs comfort. Rena is in the doorway to the kitchen, holding a dish towel she keeps twisting and twisting until it looks like it might tear. Dad's eyes rake over me. Where were you? At work, I say quickly. I can call Tessa. Don't, he snaps. Don't start with your performance. Performance. My throat burns. He walks past me, straight up the stairs. My skin goes cold. I follow, heart hammering, because I know what he's doing before I even hear drawers sliding open. The sound of my room being invaded, again, hits me like a slap. Clothes rustling, books shifting. My mattress being lifted with a grunt. Dad, I say, voice cracking, stop, please. He doesn't. He yanks open my nightstand, my desk drawer, my closet like the wood has offended him by closing. I stand in the doorway, frozen, watching him reduce my space to chaos. Paige appears behind me, her presence like a weight. Dad's just worried, she murmurs, and her breath is warm against my ear. If you have nothing to hide. I whirl on her, and for 1 second I see it, something sharp and pleased behind her eyes. A flicker. Then she smooths her expression into sympathy. My stomach twists. I feel sick. Not from fear, exactly, from the wrongness, from how cleanly she can lie with her face. Dad storms back down the stairs, holding my laundry basket like it's a trophy. He dumps it on the living room floor and starts pawing through clothes, socks, jeans, my undershirts. My face burns with humiliation so intense it almost blurs my vision. Is this what you want? I choke out. To embarrass me until I confess to something I didn't do? Dad's jaw tightens. I want the truth. The truth is right in front of you, I say, voice shaking. You just don't want it. Paige makes a small sound, as if wounded. Dad's head snaps toward her. You okay? He asks her immediately. I feel something inside my chest tear, slow and silent. Paige nods, blinking fast. I hate seeing her like this. She used to be so sweet. Sweet, like I'm a fruit that's gone bad. Rena finally speaks, but it's not to defend me. It's to soothe him. Your father is under so much stress, she says, eyes fixed on the carpet. Just do what he asks, Lena, please. Do what he asks. Give him my dignity. Give him my privacy. Give him my life. The next day, Dad corners me in the hallway before school. His breath smells like bitter coffee. Drug test, he says. The words land heavy, ugly. What? I whisper. You heard me, he says, or you're out. My stomach drops so fast my knees almost buckle. Dad, no, he cuts in. I'm not letting you destroy this family. Destroy like I'm a bomb, like Paige isn't the one lighting fuses behind my back. The drug test happens at a clinic in town where everyone knows everyone. The receptionist recognizes Dad, smiles at him. Her eyes flick to me with pity. I sit in the waiting room with my skin crawling, hands clammy, heart pounding. The humiliation is thick in my mouth, like spit I can't swallow. When it's over, Dad doesn't apologize. He doesn't even look relieved. He just looks hungry. Like the absence of evidence is an inconvenience, not a relief. At home, Paige is waiting with a new crisis ready. It happens on a Friday. I come through the door and the air feels wrong immediately. Too still, too charged. Thunder rumbles somewhere far out over the water. Dad is in the living room holding my mother's jewelry box. My mother's, the wooden one, with the little brass latch. The one I used to open as a kid just to smell her perfume lingering in the velvet lining. The latch hangs open now. Empty. My lungs lock. I can't breathe. The room narrows until all I can see is that hollow velvet like a mouth missing teeth. What did you do? Dad says, voice low, shaking with fury. My voice breaks. I didn't. Paige steps forward like she's reluctant, like she hates being the messenger of truth. Her hands tremble in a performance so perfect it makes my skin crawl. I found this, she whispers, holding out a paper. Pawn shop receipt. My name printed in block letters, a signature at the bottom that looks like my handwriting, but isn't. It's too neat, too practiced. My stomach heaves. That's not mine, I say, the words coming out thin and panicked. That signature. Paige, you... Dad's face twists. Don't you dare blame her. He steps closer, towering, the paper shaking in his fist. You stole from your dead mother. The sentence slices through me. My ears ring. My hands go numb. No, I whisper. No, I didn't. Paige's eyes glisten. Rena covers her mouth like she's shocked. Dad's voice rises. Look at me when I'm talking to you. I try so hard, but my vision is watery. My chest hurts, like my ribs are too tight. Thunder cracks, the lights flicker. Rain starts pounding the windows hard, sudden, like the sky has finally decided to break. Dad grabs my hoodie, my only warmth, and yanks it off my shoulder so hard the seam bites my skin. Cold air rushes over my arms and goosebumps explode across my flesh. Punishment, he says like he's delivering justice. Dad, please, I gasp. My teeth chatter, and I don't even know if it's cold or fear. He snatches my phone from my hand. Until trust is earned. Please just listen, I plead, voice wobbling. I didn't do this. Please, just listen. Dad's eyes are flat. I listen to the person who's never betrayed me. He opens the door. Rain roars in immediately, loud and wet and violent in its insistence. The wind shoves at me, cold fingers pushing under my shirt. Dad shoves a thin tote bag into my chest, so light it feels like a joke. I barely catch it. Then he pushes me, not hard enough to knock me down, hard enough to make it clear. You're not welcome. The door slams. The deadbolt clicks. That sound, clean, final, hits me like a gavel in my skull. I stand on the porch for half a second, staring at the wood grain of the door, waiting for it to reopen, waiting for a hand to reach out, waiting for Mom, Rena, whatever, to say, "This is too far, nothing." Rain soaks my hair instantly. It runs down my face and into my mouth, salty with tears I don't remember crying. I step off the porch because staying still feels like dying. I start walking. I don't have a plan. Just movement, just putting one foot in front of the other because the alternative is curling up on that porch and becoming a story someone tells with pity. My shoes fill with water. Each step squelches. My fingers go stiff, numb like they've been dipped in ice. The tote bag swings weakly from my hand, almost empty. Like my worth. The town is quiet in the storm. Streetlights hum. Trees bend and hiss. My breath comes out in jagged bursts. I keep swallowing, but my throat is dry, raw. My mind spirals in circles I can't stop. The jewelry box, the paper, Paige's eyes, Dad's voice saying, betrayed, like it's my name. I reach the town sign. Welcome to Harbor Point. Painted blue and white, cheerful in a way that feels cruel. A patrol car rolls by, headlights cutting through rain. For a heartbeat, hope sparks so hard it hurts. I lift my hand. The car slows just enough that I see the officer's face turn. Then it keeps going. Water sprays up behind the tires, cold mist hitting my legs like a slap. The red taillights shrink into the rain, and the hope in my chest goes out like a candle. Conversation_history, conversation_history. The patrol car's taillights fade, and the road gets wider in my head, like the world is stretching away from me on purpose. My teeth chatter so hard my jaw aches. Rain runs down my sleeves and pools at my elbows. Icy little lakes I can't shake out. My fingers don't feel like fingers anymore. They feel like stiff sticks taped to my hands. I keep walking because stopping feels worse than pain. Stopping feels like agreeing with them. The town thins out behind me. Fewer porch lights, fewer windows watching. Just road, wind, and the ocean's breath, heavy and dark to my left. The drizzle turns to sheets again, fat drops that slap my forehead and sting my eyes. I blink and water clings to my lashes. Everything looks smeared, my lungs won't fill. I try to pull air in, and it catches halfway like there's a clamp around my ribs. Each breath is a shallow sip, useless. My heart is pounding fast but weak at the same time, like it's panicking and quitting. I tell myself, one more streetlight, one more driveway, one more minute. My legs start to wobble. Not a stumble. Worse. A soft betrayal, like my knees have decided they're done holding me up. I reach a patch of roadside where the grass is flattened by runoff, mud slick as soap. I step wrong and my foot slides. My whole body lurches. I catch myself on a mailbox post, cold metal biting my palm. The shock of it shoots up my arm. I gasp, but the gasp turns into a cough. I taste salt, not ocean, me. My vision narrows, the edges going dark as if someone is slowly closing curtains around my eyes. The streetlight ahead warps into a long, glowing smear. The world tilts in a slow, lazy arc. I think, I'll sit for 1 minute, just one. I'll lean here. I'll breathe. I lower myself onto the wet curb and the cold hits my legs through my jeans like a punch. My muscles tremble and then stop. The shaking fades like a radio dial turning down. It's almost peaceful. That scares me more than anything. I blink once, twice. The third blink takes too long. Darkness arrives like a blanket being pulled over my head. Soft. Final. The rain sound fades until it's far away, like it's happening to someone else. Light returns in pieces. First, the brightness of headlights slicing through rain. Then the sound of tires on wet pavement. Then a car door opening. A gust of cold air, a voice that doesn't sound like the town. Doesn't sound like judgment. Hey, sweetheart. The word sweetheart lands weirdly. Too gentle, like a hand touching a bruise without pressing. I try to move my head. My neck is heavy. My cheeks are numb. My mouth feels stuck, lips swollen from cold. A figure leans over me. A woman. Not young. Silver hair pulled back tight, a raincoat with a reflective strip. She smells like peppermint and something earthy, wool maybe. Her eyes are sharp as broken glass, but not cruel. "Stay with me," she says, firm. "Don't try to stand." My teeth try to chatter again, but my jaw barely moves. She opens her trunk. I hear rummaging, the scrape of plastic, the quick slap of something unfolding. A foil blanket, crinkly, bright. It wraps around me, and suddenly the world is loud again, the sound of it crackling near my ears. It traps what little heat I have left. The warmth is tiny but immediate, like a match struck in a dark room. She crouches by my head, shielding me from wind with her body. Her hand cups the side of my face through the blanket, and her palm is warm. "What's your name?" she asks. I try to answer. My tongue sticks to my teeth. My voice comes out like paper tearing. "Lena," she supplies gently, watching my mouth, like she's used to listening to people who can't speak clearly, like she's done this before. I blink, a weak nod. "Okay, Lena, I'm Mara." She pulls a phone from her pocket. Her fingers move fast, sure. "I'm calling for help right now. You hear me? Help is coming." Her voice is calm in a way that makes my throat tighten. Calm like someone who doesn't get to panic. Calm like someone who has seen worse and knows what matters. She turns a little, speaking into the phone. "Yes. Female. Teen. Found roadside. Hypothermia risk. Conscious but fading. Yes, I'm staying." Hypothermia. The word floats through my foggy brain like a label being stuck on me. I want to tell her, I'm not just cold, I'm everything. I'm discarded. I'm the wrong story, but my mouth won't cooperate. Mara keeps talking, then lowers the phone and looks straight at me. Her eyes flick to my bare arms, my soaked hair plastered to my forehead, the thin tote bag limp beside me like a drowned animal. "Where's your coat?" she asks, quieter. My throat spasms. A sob tries to claw up, but it gets stuck behind my ribs. I whisper, "He took it." Mara's gaze hardens in an instant, not at me, at the invisible person behind my words. "Who took it?" she asks. I swallow and it hurts. "My dad." A pause. One beat of silence where the rain seems to lean in. Mara doesn't say, "Oh, families." Mara doesn't say, "I'm sure it was a misunderstanding." Mara doesn't say anything that lets him off the hook. She just says, "Okay." And that single okay feels like someone finally set down a weight I've been carrying alone. Sirens arrive as a distant wail, then a growing howl. Red and blue lights smear across the wet road, painting the rain. Hands appear, gloved, brisk. Someone's voice says, "On 3. The world lifts. My stomach rolls. I try not to throw up. The blanket stays wrapped around me, Mara's hand still gripping the edge like she refuses to let go. In the ambulance, the air is warm but smells like plastic and disinfectant. My skin prickles as heat comes back in painful needles. A medic talks to me, asking questions I can't answer fast enough. Mara climbs in after them. "She's with me," Mara says, simply. No one argues. At the hospital, fluorescent lights glare down so hard they make my eyes water. The floor shines. Everything echoes. Wheels, voices, the squeak of sneakers, the beep-beep of machines that sound too steady to care. Wet hair sticks to my neck in heavy ropes. My shirt clings to my skin. Shame pools in my chest. Thick and sour, I feel exposed in a way that has nothing to do with wet clothes and everything to do with being seen like this. Small, broken, rescued. They put me in a bed. White sheets, scratchy blanket, a heating device that hums quietly at my feet. My hands shake against the thin fabric. A nurse asks me to change into a gown, and I want to disappear. Mara stands near the foot of the bed, arms crossed, watching everything. Not hovering like a family member, guarding like someone trained to notice what people try to hide. When the nurse leaves, Mara steps closer. "What happened?" she asks. The question is simple. It lands like oxygen. I blink at her, throat tight. My body wants to shut down again. It wants to crawl into silence because silence is safer. Silence doesn't get you punished. Silence doesn't get your room searched. But Mara's eyes don't let me slip away. Who put you outside? She asks. My mouth opens, no sound. Why? She adds, softer, like she's offering me a hand instead of a demand. My chest caves. A sob finally breaks through, silent at first, just a shaking exhale that makes my whole body tremble. Then another. Then tears hot against my cold skin. I didn't, I choke. I didn't do it. Mara nods once, like she understands that sentence carries 1,000 others. I force words out, one jagged piece at a time. Paige, the vape pen, the counselor, the neighbor call, the pawn shop paper, the jewelry box, Dad's face when he decided my guilt was convenient. I talk about Rena, how she never accuses me, never hits me, never says the cruel words, but also never stops them. Just stands there with that towel in her hands, whispering about stress like stress is an excuse for anything. I say the part that makes my throat burn. The mail, I whisper. From the bank. It's always opened. He says, admin. Mara's brows lift, just slightly, her eyes sharpen. My voice shakes. I thought I was losing my mind. I thought, maybe I really am. The problem. The words come out and I hate them. I hate how true they felt for so long. Mara leans forward, and for a moment she looks so tired it scares me, like she's seen this story too many times. This isn't teenage rebellion, she says, and her voice is steel wrapped in calm. This is a constructed story. Constructed, like a set. Like Paige built a stage and put me on it and told everyone where to look. Mara turns and speaks to someone outside the curtain, quick, clipped. I need the on-call social worker, and I want documentation on arrival condition and clothing. Full notes. Now! The words don't fully make sense to my foggy brain, but the tone does. The tone says, this is real. This matters. This won't be brushed off. Time stretches. Nurses come and go. My body warms in painful waves. My hands stop shaking. My thoughts keep shaking. Then I hear it. Voices in the hallway. Familiar ones. Dad's, Paige's. My stomach drops so hard I feel it in my teeth. They arrive like a storm front. Dad first, shoulders squared, jaw clenched. Paige behind him, face arranged into concern. Her eyes find me immediately, and in them I see the expectation. My apology, my collapse, my gratitude for being saved from my own supposed mess. Dad steps toward the bed. There you are, he says, like I'm a runaway pet. We're going home. Now. My throat closes. My hands clench the blanket so tight my knuckles ache. Paige's voice trembles on cue. Lena, you scared us. Scared. The word is so wrong I almost laugh. A nurse appears, blocking Dad's path. Sir, you need to wait. I'm her father. Dad snaps. Mara steps beside my bed like a wall, her body angled, her presence suddenly enormous. And I'm staying right here, she says. Dad's eyes flick over her, annoyance, confusion. Who are you? Mara doesn't flinch. Mara Ellison. Paige blinks fast. Thank you for helping her, she says, voice honey sweet. We're so grateful. Mara's gaze cuts to Paige like a blade. Paige's smile tightens for half a second. Dad points at me. She's been lying. Mara lifts a hand. Not dramatic, just final. Save it. Dad stares, shocked that anyone would interrupt him. Mara turns to the nurse and says, Is the social worker here yet? A woman in scrubs steps in with a clipboard. Another adult with a badge appears at the curtain edge. My heart hammers. The room fills with people who look at Dad the way Dad always looked at me, evaluating, skeptical, unimpressed. Paige's hand slides onto Dad's arm, squeezing, recentering him, like she can still steer this. Mara reaches into a tote bag of her own and pulls out a folder. Plain, manila. It looks like nothing. It looks like paper. It looks like the kind of thing that ruins lives quietly. She sets it on my bed right on top of the blanket near my hands, like she's placing a weapon in neutral territory. Then she looks at my father and says his name, like she already owns the truth. Graham, Mara says, voice calm as a heartbeat. Explain why your daughter's account has 3 withdrawals this month. The folder sits on my blanket like it has weight, like if I touch it, it'll leave ink on my fingertips that won't wash off. Dad's face changes in slow frames. Anger first, then confusion, then something tight and pale around the mouth. His eyes flick down, then up, then down again, like he's trying to outrun a fact by refusing to look at it. Paige's hand tightens on his arm. I see her nails press into his sleeve. Possessive. Warning. Her smile wobbles just a little, then snaps back into place. What are you talking about? Dad barks. Her account is... He stops, swallows. Her account is under my name. I'm her father. Mara doesn't move. She doesn't blink. Custodial control doesn't mean unrestricted use, she says, voice level, and it doesn't explain repeated withdrawals. My throat is dry. I feel my pulse in my wrists, in my temples, in my tongue, like my body is banging on the inside of itself to be let out. The social worker, badge clipped to her scrubs, steps closer. Sir, we need to ask you some questions. Dad's jaw muscles jump. This is ridiculous. My daughter is manipulative. She runs off into storms for attention and... I make a sound, not a word. Just a small, strangled noise that escapes when my chest tries to collapse in on itself. Paige steps forward quickly. Please, she says, all sweetness and tears. She's been struggling. We've tried to help her, but she lies. Mara's gaze flicks to Paige, and it's the first time I've seen Paige flinch in my life. Not recoil, Paige is too polished for that. But her shoulders stiffen, her breath catches. Her eyes dart just once like a trapped animal checking for exits. Enough, Mara says. Not loud, not dramatic. Just enough. The nurse folds her arms. The social worker opens her clipboard. Dad's authority, his usual gravity that makes rooms tilt toward him, doesn't work here. It doesn't pull anyone. Nobody is orbiting him. Nobody is asking him what to do. I feel it like a warmth under my skin. A strange, careful relief. Mara turns slightly toward me, voice softening just a notch. Lena, can you tell her what happened tonight in your own words? My mouth opens and closes. My tongue feels like it's stuck to the roof of my mouth. I want to disappear. I also want the truth to grow legs and run. I was pushed out, I manage. My voice sounds smaller than I feel. He took my hoodie. He took my phone. The social worker's pen scratches. The sound is sharp in the quiet. Dad's face turns red. I did not push her. She left because she wouldn't take responsibility. My hands clench the blanket. My fingernails find skin. Dig. Anchor me to the bed so I don't float away in shame. Mara doesn't argue with Dad. She doesn't get sucked into the emotional swamp he's trying to drag everyone into. She keeps it simple, keeps it clean. Were you aware she had no coat and no phone? She asks. Dad hesitates. That hesitation feels like oxygen. She had a coat, he snaps, but it comes too late, too defensive. Her core temperature was low when she arrived, the nurse says, coolly. Her clothing was soaked. She had no outer layer. Paige's lips part as if she's about to cry again, but her eyes are calculating. I can feel her mind working from across the room like a machine warming up. We were scared, Paige whispers. We were trying to protect her. Protect? From what? From the story she wrote? The social worker nods slowly, not convinced. Given the circumstances, she says, we're opening an emergency case. Temporary placement will be required tonight. Dad's head snaps up. No, absolutely not. My stomach flips. The word placement makes me feel like a package, a problem to be shipped. Mara leans closer to me, low enough that only I can hear. Do you have a safe relative nearby? My chest aches. My mother's sister flashes through my mind, Nina. Aunt Nina with her loud laugh and her chipped red nail polish and her habit of calling me kiddo like it's a nickname, not a label. Nina, I whisper. My mom's sister. Mara nods once, decisive. She stands, walks to the social worker, and speaks in clipped sentences I can't fully catch. I hear my aunt's name. I hear safe placement. I hear tonight. Dad's voice rises. This is a mistake. She's twisting everything. Paige steps in, voice trembling. Maybe she needs treatment, she says carefully, like a facility, just until she stabilizes. The word facility makes my throat close. My skin goes cold again, even under the hospital blanket. My mind flashes to locked doors, white halls, no phone, no one believing me. Paige's eyes flick to my face, watching to see if it lands, testing the weight of it. Mara's head turns slowly, and the look she gives Paige is not anger, not disgust, recognition, like she's seen this move before. The social worker's pen pauses. She looks at Paige. That's a serious suggestion, she says. On what basis? Paige's smile freezes. She's been unpredictable. Unpredictable. The word tries to turn me into weather. But Mara stands there like a lighthouse, unmoved. A few hours later, I'm in a wheelchair being pushed through hallways that smell like antiseptic and old coffee. My skin still tingles like tiny needles under the surface, heat returning where cold lived. My wet hair is shoved into a messy knot. A nurse gave me a paper cup of water, and I drank like it was permission to stay alive. Mara walks beside me, steady, not touching, but close enough that I can feel her presence like a hand on my back. When we reach the entrance, the rain is still coming down, but softer now, a steady hiss. Streetlights turn it into glitter. Aunt Nina arrives like a storm of her own. She doesn't drift in. She bursts. Hair frizzing from the rain, jacket half-buttoned, eyes fierce. She looks at me and her face changes. Anger flashes, then tenderness so sharp it hurts. "Oh, baby," she whispers, and the word baby makes my throat burn. She cups my face with both hands, warm palms, and I can't stop the tears this time. They pour out of me like something finally cracked open. Mara speaks with Nina in a low voice. Paperwork, signatures, conditions, temporary placement. Dad is there too, of course. He stands under the awning with Paige and Rena, faces tight and shining from rain. Dad looks like he wants to tear the whole scene down with his hands. Paige watches Nina hug me. Her jaw clenches. A flicker of hatred slips through her mask so fast I almost miss it. Nina turns toward them, and her voice is quiet but deadly. "You let her walk out like that?" Dad stiffens. Nina holds up a hand. "Don't." She says it like she's swatting away a lie. "Don't you dare." Rena's eyes fill. She looks like she might speak, but she doesn't. She just presses her lips together and looks down like she's trying to fold herself into invisibility. On the drive to Nina's house, the car smells like wet fabric and cinnamon air freshener. The heater blows warm air onto my hands, and the warmth hurts. It makes my fingers ache like bruises. I cradle them anyway because pain is proof I'm still here. Nina keeps glancing at me at red lights, her face twisted with fury she's trying to keep from spilling out. "You tell me everything," she says, finally. "All of it." My voice shakes as I talk. The vape pen, the counselor, the neighbor call, the pawn receipt, the opened mail, the way Dad's eyes always chose Paige. Nina's knuckles go white around the steering wheel. She doesn't interrupt. She just breathes hard through her nose like a bull holding back. At her house, she wraps me in a blanket that smells like laundry soap and home. She makes tea I can't taste. She sits across from me at the kitchen table and watches me like she's memorizing my face. The next few days move in strange, tense bursts. Phone calls, meetings, the hum of a printer. Nina's voice sharp on the phone. "No, you're not speaking to her without supervision." Mara checks in. Sometimes she's on speakerphone, her voice calm and direct, guiding Nina through what to document, what to ask for, what not to say. "Facts over emotion," she repeats. And it's like she's handing me a spine. I start writing things down. At first, my hand shakes so much the letters look like they're trying to run away, but I keep going. Dates, times, events. The day my counselor called me in, the day my manager told me about the neighbor, the night Dad searched my room. I screenshot my work schedule from the cafe. I message teachers asking for copies of the emails I sent. My stomach twists every time I hit send, like I'm poking a sleeping bear. But the fear is different now. It has a direction, a purpose. Paige doesn't stay quiet. She posts online, vague, glossy sadness. A photo of storm clouds over the pier. a caption about protecting family and hard choices and mental health. No names, just enough for people in town to connect the dots and paint me with pity and suspicion. Comments roll in. Stay strong, praying for you. You're such a good sister. I stare at my phone until my eyes sting. My skin crawls. My chest feels tight, like I'm trapped under glass while everyone talks about me, like I'm not human. Then Paige tries to slither into Nina's world. She shows up one afternoon with a plastic container of cookies, like sugar can erase betrayal. She stands on Nina's porch smiling, raincoat spotless, hair perfect. Paige's voice is soft, practiced. I just want to make sure Lena is safe, she says. Nina's stare is flat. You mean monitored? Paige's smile flickers. I don't understand. Nina steps closer, filling the doorway. Here's what you don't get, Paige. In this house, we don't confuse control with love. We don't punish kids to make ourselves feel powerful. She leans in. And we don't bring cookies to cover tracks. Paige's cheeks flush. She opens her mouth, then closes it. Her eyes harden. Tell Lena I'm worried, she says, and it comes out like a threat wearing a ribbon. Nina doesn't take the cookies. She just closes the door. That night, the rain comes back harder, rattling the windows. Nina sits at the kitchen table with a stack of papers and the kind of stillness that means she's thinking about war. Then Rena shows up. Not at the front door, at the back. I hear the soft knock and my whole body tenses, instinctive. Nina looks through the curtain, then swears under her breath. It's her, Nina says, and her voice is sharp with something complicated. Rena steps in quietly, dripping rain onto Nina's floor. Her eyes are red. Her hands shake. She looks smaller here. Away from Dad's shadow, away from Paige's spotlight. I shouldn't be here, she whispers. Then why are you? Nina snaps, but her voice isn't cruel. It's hungry for truth. Rena swallows. Her throat bobbles. Because it's gone too far. My heart pounds. I hold my breath so hard my chest hurts. Rena's gaze flicks to me. For the first time, she looks at me directly. Really looks. And the guilt on her face makes my stomach turn. I didn't know how to stop it, she says, voice cracking. Graham? He listens to Paige like she's the only truth in the house. Nina's jaw tightens. And you? Rena flinches. I kept telling myself it wasn't my place. Her eyes fill. I kept telling myself your father was under stress. Hearing my own misery repeated in that phrase makes something hot rise in my chest. Rage. Pure, clean rage. Rena wipes at her cheeks with the back of her hand, like she's ashamed of her tears. Paige has been taking his cards, she whispers. For errands. She says she's helping. She's always been so convincing. Nina's eyes narrow. Cards for what errands? Rena shakes her head, frantic. I don't know. I didn't ask. She swallows hard. There's a drawer in the study, locked. Paige told me never to open it. She said it was private. The air in the kitchen changes. Nina goes still. What kind of drawer? Nina asks. Rena's voice drops. The one with the important papers. My stomach sinks. Nina stands slowly. The chair legs scrape the tile. Show me. Rena hesitates, then nods, a jerky motion like surrender. We drive to the house I used to live in, but we don't go inside through the front door like family. Nina uses the side entrance with the spare key she never gave back after my mom died. The house smells the same, lemon cleaner and faint perfume, and it hits me like a fist. My throat tightens. Every shadow looks like a memory. We move quietly, like thieves in my own childhood. The study door is closed. Nina opens it. The room is neat, too neat. Everything placed like a display. The desk, the file cabinet, the framed photos, Paige's face smiling in half of them, always close to Dad. Nina goes straight to the drawer Rena mentioned. A small lock glints in the lamplight. Key? Nina asks. Rena shakes her head, breathing fast. Paige keeps it. Nina's mouth tightens. Then she opens the desk drawer and pulls out a paperclip. She bends it with quick, practiced hands. I watch, heart hammering as she works the lock. The click is small but loud in my skull. The drawer slides open. Inside are forms. Crisp, organized, official looking. Nina's fingers freeze as she pulls the top page out. My name is already typed in. Lena underscore 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 underscore. Date of birth, address, spaces filled, neat and complete like someone practiced this. Guardianship petition. My mouth goes numb. My vision swims. Rena makes a strangled sound behind us like a sob trying to choke her. Nina holds the papers like they're contaminated. Her voice comes out low, vibrating with fury. Oh my God, she whispers. They weren't just trying to punish you. My skin goes ice cold. They were preparing to take you. Conversation underscore history. Conversation underscore history. Rain again. Of course it's rain. It needles my scalp through my hood and runs down the back of my neck in cold lines, like fingers tracing places I don't want touched. The courthouse steps shine, slick and gray, and each step I take feels like I'm climbing into someone else's story. One they already wrote, one they already told the whole town. My stomach is a tight, sour knot. I taste yesterday's fear like it never left my mouth. Nina walks beside me, shoulder close, her umbrella angled to cover me more than herself. Mara is a few steps ahead, steady and unhurried, as if the building can't swallow us because she refuses to be rushed. Inside, everything smells like wet coats and old paper. The air is dry-warm in that way that makes my skin itch as it tries to thaw. My shoes squeak on tile. The sound is too loud. My heart thumps too loud. I keep my hands clasped because if I let them hang, they'll shake. A door opens. Dad walks in like he belongs here. He's wearing his respectable coat, the one he saves for church and parent-teacher conferences. His hair is combed. His face is set into a calm that looks almost kind, almost reasonable. Like a man here for a misunderstanding, like a father worried sick. Paige is tucked into his side, her arm looped through his. Good daughter posture. Soft eyes. Lips pressed together as if she's holding back tears. For my sake. She looks at me and her expression blooms into something tender and pained, like she's been praying for me. I feel heat crawl up my neck. My chest tightens. Part of me wants to laugh at how perfect she is. Another part wants to gag. Rena trails behind them. She doesn't cling. She doesn't smile. She looks like she's been emptied out. Her eyes find mine for a second and then drop as if she can't bear the mirror. We sit. We wait. The bench is hard beneath me. My thighs stick slightly to the plastic of the chair. I can hear the rain tapping the windows, a faint, endless drumming that matches my pulse. When they call my name, the sound makes my skin jump. We move into the hearing room. It's smaller than I imagined. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just fluorescent lights and beige walls and a judge's bench that looks more like a desk than a throne. That's what scares me. This isn't a movie. No swelling music. No guarantee the truth wins. Mara sits behind me. Nina sits beside me. I can feel Nina's knee vibrating with contained rage. I keep my eyes on the table because if I look at Dad too long, I'll either crumble or combust. The first words out of his mouth are smooth. He tells the judge he's concerned, that I'm unstable, that he's done everything for me, that he's heartbroken. Each sentence feels like a hand pressing on my throat. Paige dabs at her eyes with a tissue, very delicately, careful not to smudge mascara that's probably waterproof. She looks over at me like she wants to help me, like she's the only one who understands. I bite the inside of my cheek until I taste blood. Then Mara stands. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't plead. She speaks like a person presenting gravity. She lays out the medical report. How I arrived soaked and chilled with no coat and no phone. The words unsafe expulsion float through the room like smoke. My stomach clenches, shame flaring hot, but Mara keeps going, turning my humiliation into evidence. CPS speaks next. They describe risk, abandonment, medical danger. The cold, professional phrasing makes my skin prickle, but it also makes me breathe easier. Because it's not feelings, it's record. Dad shifts in his seat for the first time. A tiny crack. Then the money comes up. The account. My mother's account. The room gets smaller in my lungs. I can't inhale all the way. I feel my ribs strain. Someone slides bank records across a table. Paper whispers. The sound is intimate and vicious, like secrets rubbing against each other, numbers, dates, transfers, and there it is. Repeated deposits to Paige. Notes beside them in neat little lines, tuition, books, school fees. Paige's chin lifts as if she's about to cry, but her eyes flick down too fast, too sharp. The judge asks her where she's enrolled. Paige's mouth opens. Nothing comes out for a beat. I watch her throat move as she swallows. She starts, then tries again with a better voice. I was considering options. I almost choke on the urge to laugh. The sound wants to burst out of me like something feral. The evidence keeps stacking. Emails printed out. Screenshots, the forged message from me to my teacher. The one that made adults tilt their heads and decide I was fragile, unstable, a sad project. The school tech report. The Wi-Fi. The device. Paige's device. Her cheeks flush in blotches. Her fingers twist the tissue into a rope. Then the pawn shop paperwork appears. The receipt with my name. The signature that wasn't mine. The shop owner's statement is read. They never met me. Never saw me. Security footage shows a young man, Paige's boyfriend, at the counter. My stomach drops and then lifts at the same time, like an elevator gone wrong. The relief makes me dizzy. The betrayal makes me nauseous. Paige's breathing changes. I can hear it from across the room. Quick. Shallow, like she's running without moving. Then Nina places the guardianship documents on the table. The papers from the locked drawer, my name already typed in. My birth date, the petition language. It looks official in a way that makes my skin crawl, like my life was a form waiting to be filed. The judge's eyes narrow. Dad's face goes slack, like something inside him finally snaps. Not anger, not even fear. Shock. The stunned look of a man realizing the monster in his house wasn't the one he kept pointing at. Paige's mouth tightens. Her mask doesn't slip gently. It tears. We break for a moment. Hallway time, the kind of pause that makes your heart race because there's nowhere to put your hands. The air in the hall smells like wet wool and floor cleaner. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead like insects. I lean against the wall, swallowing hard. My legs feel hollow. Nina stands close like she's bracing to catch me. Paige storms out of the hearing room like she can't breathe in there anymore. Her eyes lock onto me instantly. No softness now. No concerned sister act, just raw anger that looks almost hungry. You think you're so special, she hisses, stepping close enough that I can smell her perfume, sweet and sharp, cloying in the stale hallway air. You think you deserve everything just because you're her real daughter. My heart bangs against my ribs. My hands curl into fists without my permission. Paige's voice rises, and it isn't pretty anymore. You don't deserve that money. You didn't earn it. The sentence hangs there, a confession wearing rage. The air seems to go quiet, like even the building is listening. Mara's head turns slowly toward Paige. Nina's eyes go hard. A court officer takes a step. Paige realizes what she did. Her eyes widen for a split second, panic flashing through the cracks. Then she tries to paste her face back together, tries to swallow the words back down. Too late. Back in the hearing, consequences come like falling dominoes. Quiet, heavy, final. The judge's voice is calm, but each word lands like a door closing. An emergency protective order. Dad cannot contact me without supervision. Independent oversight from my mother's account. My account. Not Dad's admin. Not Paige's opportunity. And Paige isn't just a worried sister anymore. The word fraud floats up. Forgery, theft, not screamed, not dramatized, stated. Her golden image doesn't shatter with a bang. It crumbles into dust right in front of everyone who ever praised her. Dad sits there like he's been drained. His shoulders sag. His hands look older. He keeps staring at the table as if the wood grain can explain how he got here. When the hearing ends, people stand and shuffle and gather papers like this was just another appointment, like lives didn't just reroute. I stay seated for a second too long. my legs refusing to trust the floor. My skin feels both too tight and too empty. Dad turns toward me. For the first time in years, his eyes don't look at me like I'm a problem to solve. They look lost, like he finally sees the cost. His mouth opens, closes, his throat bobs as he swallows something bitter. Lena, he says, and my name sounds strange in his voice. Smaller, softer. I don't feel triumph. I feel tired. I feel like my bones are full of wet sand. I stand. My voice doesn't rise. It doesn't shake. It comes out flat and honest, like the last piece of truth I'm willing to hand him. You didn't throw me out because of a lie, I say. You threw me out because it was easier. His face crumples. Not dramatic, not a sob. Just a man finally recognizing himself and not liking what he sees. I walk away before he can answer, because the answer doesn't change anything. Rain is still falling when we step outside. The sky is the same color as the courthouse walls. Nina's umbrella bumps my shoulder as she adjusts it, and for a moment I let myself lean into the shared cover. Months pass. Time doesn't heal like people say. It scabs, it thickens, it builds new skin that feels strange at first. I move forward anyway. I keep documenting. I keep breathing. I keep building my life like a house with locks I chose. And then one night, rain streaking the window again, my mailbox coughs up an envelope. Sealed. Heavy. A lawyer's letterhead in the corner. My thumb traces the flap until it burns. It's from Dad's attorney, requesting a meeting, and my stomach does that old, familiar drop like somewhere deep inside me, the story is trying to repeat itself. Conversation_history. Conversation_history. The cafe is quiet in the late afternoon, all soft jazz and spoon clinks and the bitter smell of espresso. Neutral ground, public, witnesses without faces. My hands are wrapped around a warm mug, but my fingers still feel cold anyway. Like my body learned that chill and decided to keep it. Dad sits across from me. He looks smaller than I remember, not physically, just deflated. His eyes keep darting to my hands, my face, the door, like he's bracing for someone to come in and confirm he's the villain. I was stressed, he says, and the words scrape. I didn't know what to do. Paige, she sounded so convincing. I trusted her. I watch his mouth move and feel nothing like forgiveness. Just a slow, steady heat behind my ribs. Not rage, not anymore. Something cleaner. You didn't trust her, I say quietly. My voice doesn't shake. You distrusted me. He flinches like I slapped him. I'm sorry, he whispers. He tries to look sincere, like sincerity is the same thing as accountability. I'm trying to fix things. My stomach tightens. I swallow hard. The coffee tastes like burnt sugar. I'm not your fix, I tell him. An apology without responsibility doesn't count. I'm not here to make you feel better about what you did. His eyes get wet. He nods too fast, desperate. I just want my daughter back. The word daughter lands heavy, like a chain he's trying to clip back onto my ankle. I set my mug down carefully so my hands don't betray me. You don't get to ask me to clean up the mess you made by believing the easy lie. Silence stretches between us. It doesn't feel empty. It feels like a boundary. When I leave, the air outside is cool and damp, and I breathe deeper than I did walking in. My shoulders drop. My body remembers what freedom tastes like. The real revenge wasn't watching them fall apart. It was watching myself stand back up without their permission. Family is Aunt Nina's spare key still hanging by her door like a promise. Family is Mara's calm voice on the phone when my hands shook too hard to hold a pen. Family is the friends who didn't ask for proof before they offered a couch and a hot meal. Rena, she's gone now. Therapy. A small apartment, a life where silence isn't her job anymore. Paige? The world doesn't scream at people like her, it just closes. Invitations stop, references don't call back. Doors don't open when trust is gone. If this story hit home, subscribe for more betrayal to justice stories. Comment where you're watching from, and tell me, would you forgive a parent who chose the easy lie over you? Like the video, if you believe the truth doesn't need to shout, it only needs proof.